are listening to Proof of Love with Tatiana Moroz, Dr. Stephanie Murphy, and Lauren Kasovitz. This show may contain adult content, language, and humor and is intended for mature audiences. If that's not you, please stop listening. Nothing you hear on Proof of Love is intended as financial advice, legal advice, therapy, or really anything other than entertainment. Please take everything that you hear with a grain of salt. Oh, and if you're hearing us on an affiliate network, the ideas and views expressed on this show are not necessarily those of the network that you're listening on, or of any of the sponsors or affiliate products that you may hear about on the show. Now that that's squared away, let's start the show. Show me your heart. I know that it's beating. Tell me that you love me too. So I know your heart is true. 'Cause I need some proof of love. 'Cause I need some proof of love. 'Cause I need some proof of love. This episode of Proof of Love is brought to you by Vaultoro. Vaultoro is a gold hedging solution for the crypto community. One of the challenges of investing in cryptocurrencies is dealing with volatility. Keeping a diversified portfolio is a key to healthy returns. I keep about 10% of my crypto assets in gold using Vaultoro. Vaultoro allows me to open a gold wallet in seconds where I can trade easily with cryptos and gold. What I like about using Vaultoro instead of Tether is that the gold in my Vaultoro wallet is insured, audited, vaulted in Switzerland, and unlike fiat money, gold has increased in value for the last 20 years. Visit vaultoro.gold/Tatiana today and get zero trading fees for the first 3 months. That is vault, like a gold vault, and oro, which is Spanish for gold. Vaultoro, ole! Hello, everybody, and welcome to Proof of Love, the show where we give you advice, even though sometimes we don't know what we're talking about, but sometimes we do, and that's just
the
life.
Funnest way to give advice when you don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. A tentative line that I had originally had for Proof of Love was the blind leading the blind, but the girls did not want to be considered blind. I was okay with that classification. I'm joined today by my two beautiful co-hosts, Lauren Kasovitz.
Hello, everybody.
And also Stephanie Murphy.
Hello.
Hey, guys.
Well, we got a great Q&A show today, but first we got to thank our sponsors, right?
Sure, we do. Absolutely. So thank you to blocktap.io and, of course, to vaultoro.com. That's vault, like a gold vault, oro, like gold, Spanish for gold. Vaultoro, ole.
Love that. So here's our agenda for today. We're going to do a Q&A show. And first of all, we got to say thank you so much to everybody who's been sending in questions. We got some really good questions on the docket. And if you want to send us a question for one of our future Q&A shows, please go to our website, proofoflovecast.com. You can find out how to contact us there and send us in your questions. You can do it in an anonymous format, or you can do it in a totally public way. It's just up to you. So, okay, today we've got, what do you do if your best friend starts dating someone you don't like? Girls, Has this ever happened to you?
Yes, many times.
Okay, so what did you do in that situation? Because this could be really disconnecting, right? Like your best friends, you're hanging out, suddenly they start dating someone and you just realize their partner is just kind of getting on your nerves. And then the more you hang out with them, you're like, wow, they're not just annoying, they're kind of actually an asshole. What do you do about that?
I don't know. I have a kind of cut and dry answer for me just throughout the years of having people that have dated lots of guys I didn't like. And I'm sure I've dated guys that my friends didn't like also. At the end of the day, there's nothing you can do. Really, it's not your relationship. It's not your business, really, unless the guy is a total dirtbag. I think there's some lines there. If they're treating your friend badly, then it's a different story. But if they're just annoying or a pain in the ass or have kind of a shitty worldview on things and that kind of thing, it's really kind of a waste of time to tell your friend, because either they know and they don't care, or they don't want to hear it. It's really hard when someone's dating someone for the first time and they really like them for whatever reason, even if you can't see it, for them to hear anything negative about their new partner, I think, no matter how old you are. But I really think kind of the best thing you could do is avoid your time with that person. That's just my opinion. I know I've dated some pretty terrible guys in the past, and I feel like if somebody had told me that they just outwardly disliked the guy I was dating, I would get really offended and probably want to spend less time with the friend in general. Again,
Well,
different.
that's interesting. I was going to ask you about that. Like, would you want to hear feedback from one of your friends like that if you were dating someone that your friend didn't like? And it would
No,
just drive you apart. Yeah. Okay. So you're saying they should keep it to themselves, and you're going to keep it to yourself, but you're going to stop hanging out with your friend if your friend starts dating someone you don't like.
I would just stop hanging out with the guy. Even though most of my friends at this point are married and have been for like 10 years, I think at the end of the day, I still prefer hanging out with my friends without their significant others, even if I adore their significant others. I just don't really enjoy hanging out only in couples. I never have. I feel like if I wanted to be best friends with a guy, whether he was dating a friend or not, I would be best friends with a guy. So I know that's a little bit of an immature thing to say, but I just don't really feel the need to hang out with somebody's significant other all the time. And I've always been pretty good at separating that, like spending time with my friends within our friendships. So it's never really been a huge issue unless we're at group dinners or an event or this or that. But yeah, I probably wouldn't want to hear it. And I'd probably just try to spend as less time with that person as possible. I don't know. I've
Okay,
learned the
so
hard
Lauren's
way.
a compartmentalizer. Um, I have a
100%. Yes.
okay, so that's one way to deal with this situation. Yeah, I mean, I guess I have a slightly different perspective on that. I tend to hang out more if a friend of mine is in a couple, I tend to want to include their partner in the hanging out, right? And
Mm,
like
okay.
I just feel like if I was part of a couple, I wouldn't want my partner's friend to only want to hang out with them. I would want to be included in it too, right? And also there's something about like if you are partnered, right? Hanging out with other people who are also in relationships can be helpful because you can talk about relationship issues and you might have that in common. And sometimes it's good to be able to talk to another couple if you indeed are part of a couple. So I find some value in that, but they
I do
also have to.
too. I do too. I will interject there. I do too. I think there are certain couples that are fantastic to hang out with. But as a whole, yes, I'd probably prefer one-on-one time. But go ahead. Sorry.
Well, right, but the caveat is that both people in the couple or moresome, or it doesn't have to be a couple, it could be a polyfamily or a polycule, right? But all the people in the relationship need to be good quality people that you get along with and you like in order for it to really feel happy hanging out with everybody together. So what do you do if there's somebody who's messing with the chemistry? This is
Yeah.
really hard, right? I think maybe my opinion about this has changed a little bit, or maybe it hasn't. I don't know. I mean, because there was a situation where I had I guess this has happened more than once, right? So we can generalize it. There have been situations where I had a partner that some of my friends or most of my friends didn't like, and they told me about it. And some friends basically split. The friendship ended over this because it became a long-term relationship for me. And some friends stuck by me, even though they weren't crazy about my partner. And I was glad for those friends who stuck by me. And I never tried to get back in touch with the friends who broke up with me over me dating someone that they didn't like. I was just like, oh, fuck these guys. They weren't willing to stick by me. Okay, then I guess they're not my real friends. If them hanging out with me is dependent on who I'm dating, right? So it did drive a
Yeah.
wedge between us, just like you said, Lauren. So maybe I wouldn't want to hear feedback. I mean, I think that people date people because on an unconscious level, and this is getting a little woo-woo or spiritual maybe, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think people date people and they seek out relationships because there's something that they're trying to figure out. And that person they know unconsciously is going to help them figure it out, right?
Yeah,
It's going to get
I
them one
agree.
step closer to healing whatever needs to be healed or to calling attention to something that needs attention. It's going to teach them some kind of lesson, right? And so even if that person is an asshole, you can look at it as, all right, my friend's dating an asshole, but they need to date this asshole because they need to figure out something. And this person is going to help them figure it out. And they know it, and they know it best. So
Yeah. No,
I guess
no,
that's,
no. I think that's a great point. And I agree with that. That's kind of part of why I tend to not tell my friends or in the past. I mean, most of them, like I said, have been married for like 1,000 years, but But in the past, I tried not to say anything because we are all dating people for a reason. And unless it's a bad guy or a bad woman that they're dating and they're treating them like crap, or they're treating us like crap, it's not really our business, right? I mean, it's
unless
their
the person
relationship.
asks, has anybody, I want to have Tatiana weigh in too, if she wants to comment on this. Tatiana, did you want to talk first of all before we go into, I have another question about this, but I want to hear what you think.
I think it's really hard to watch your friend do bad things. And I think as I've gotten older, I have a lower tolerance for it. And I think sometimes it could bring up stuff in myself. You know what I mean? Like I have a friend in mind that's dating somebody that is, in my opinion, terrible. Like something about this guy makes me want to jump through a window and strangle him. Like I do not like him. And I'm trying to decide about how forward I want to be in terms of the details here. But regardless,
jumping
this guy,
through a window and strangling is a pretty descriptive. That's great.
Well, I meant like details as to what it is that bothers me about him. But anywho, the point is that I see an old pattern that I've made a mistake with, and I see a friend doing that. And I've seen a lot of people make the same mistake. And I don't know, as I get older, I just have a very low tolerance for that. And this is going to sound bad, but I almost feel like my friend I kind of feel like my friend's a loser for making that decision because we're older now. And it's like, come on, girl, don't do this stupid thing. Like, I don't actually think that she's a loser, but part of me almost feels like I want to give up on that person because they're not seeing this glaringly obvious thing. On the other hand, I've made so many crazy, terrible mistakes. I mean, I can only imagine the hell that I've put my friends through having to talk out my miserable relationships. So I feel a little bit guilty for being judgmental, but at the same time, I feel like I'm always empathetic and trying to give. And if I have to kind of get sucked into a bad, negative mental state because of their relationship, then I think the only thing that you can really do is distance yourself, and then hopefully they'll come to their senses. I feel like that sounds a little bit harsh, but it's just like eye roll, come on, people, get it together. We're not in high school. And I think that sometimes people choose relationships that are really unhealthy, and I just don't like to see it. So even though I feel like I kind of owe them a sympathetic ear, I don't want to give it to them because I just feel like they're wasting my time and theirs.
You still have boundaries, right? And one of the hardest things is watching someone make a mistake that you've made in the past, right? It's like, it's like watching a train wreck, right? It's one of the most painful things. And sometimes you have to distance yourself because it is triggering and annoying and crazy making to you to watch someone repeat that mistake that you've learned in the past or, maybe judged yourself for in the past.
Yeah, I agree. I actually agree with both of you guys, but I think it is really dependent, right? Between whether somebody really just has a crappy personality or they're a crappy person. I think there's a definite line there because if somebody just sucks and they're boring or they're obnoxious, like, what are we going to do about it? If we don't want to hang out with them, we just don't hang out with them. But if they just are kind of just like have a crappy personality, is there a point to telling our friend, like, you're dating a guy who's just boring? You're dating a guy who makes, whatever, bad jokes. But if there's a guy who's a raging misogynist or he's secretly, hitting on people and you've seen it, then I feel like you have to tell your friend, you have to talk about it. They're probably not going to want to hear it, but it's almost a responsibility to talk to them. And if they don't want to take that into account and what or how you feel, or if they make you feel bad about something, then I mean, what else can you do but just not spend time with them? Not the person, but the person that they're dating.
Well, I don't know, because the thing is if that friend of yours is trying to talk to you about that dude, then you have to listen to it all day long. I don't know. I feel guilty, but I'm in a phase in my life where I'm trying to prioritize my own mental health and my own, I don't know, just betterment in general. So watching people make loser old mistakes, I don't know. I've hit the wall with that.
I have a question. So have either of you girls ever had a friend ask you for feedback about their partner?
Yes.
And how did that go? Yeah, I've had this too, but I want to hear about yours, Lauren, and then I'll go.
God, it's so tricky. I'm thinking about somebody in particular, and they're not together anymore, but they were very serious and they were living together. And again, he's not a bad guy, but he's horrible for her. Like, just brought up all of her insecurities and her anxieties, and we would talk about him all day, like all day. And I did, like Tatiana said, I finally just hit the breaking point, and I was like, dude, what are you doing here? Like, you're telling me all the issues you have. You're not doing anything about them. I'm at the point, like I said this, I was like, I'm at the point where I can't talk to you about it anymore if you're not going to make any changes. And surprisingly, she didn't flip out. She didn't really get that upset. I know she was hurt, because you want your friends to be able to be there. And like Tatiana said, I tend to be one of those friends that can sit and listen for hours, because I want to help my friends. I care. I want them to not make mistakes or be happy. And I'd hope they do the same for me. But I just hit the wall with her. And she actually, I guess she had hit the wall with him too, because she understood. She was hurt, but she understood. She stopped talking to me about him. The last I had heard about him was when they broke up. So I think it really depends on the person and the relationship and maybe their mental health at the time that they're dating the person. But it's tricky. I think it's a really, really kind of tricky, hard situation with friends. What about you guys?
Yeah, so I had a situation where a friend of mine asked me for feedback about a relationship that she was getting in. And I talked to the guy that she was starting to date, and I thought he was lovely, but I saw one red flag and I raised it to her. And actually, I raised it to both of them, and they didn't want to hear it. And it was funny because they had specifically, or she had at least specifically asked for my feedback and if I saw any red flags. And I said, well, yes, actually, I see this one red flag. And she ignored it. So it's really tough, like sometimes people just, like I said, they're dating someone because there's something they need to figure out, and nobody else can help them learn that lesson except themselves.
Yeah, I agree. So at the end of the day, we kind of have to take it person by person, relationship by relationship. And maybe, I don't know, my advice would be is to draw that line of whether they just suck or they just have a sucky personality.
If
All right,
you're
well,
listening to the show and you've had any kind of experiences like this, feel free to send in your experiences and your feedback too. Curious what everybody else is thinking.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so our next question is, if you're in a relationship and your partner is liking other people's pictures on Instagram, is this just rude or is it actually a type of cheating? This is what the question says. And I think this is coming from a woman whose boyfriend is liking other women's pictures on Instagram. So we can take the gender out of it, right? Like it could be anybody, right? Anybody dating anyone. But what do you ladies think? Is it a form of infidelity to like admire the looks of other people's pictures on social media? We have this weird world now, don't we, where we can go on Instagram and like everybody's photos and get followed and liked by them in return.
So I know the person who submitted the question, and I just wanted to provide some clarification. She had asked the boyfriend not to do it, and she said that it upsets her. So basically what he's doing is going on Instagram, liking a bunch of, hot girls. And he's like, what difference does it make? I'm not meeting them. I'm never going to meet them. But I think it's extremely disrespectful if she asked you not to, because here's the thing. Why do you need to like the picture? Just look at it and don't hit like.
Totally agree.
If she's already expressing some insecurity and she's making a need known, and he just blatantly disregards that and continues to like the pictures, like, you don't need to like the pictures. You can just look at them and move on with your life. And then that doesn't upset her, and he refuses to do that. Meanwhile, this girl won't even talk to his guy friends. When they're all hanging out, she literally doesn't even talk to them because she's like, why do I need to talk to them? I'm talking to you. So she accommodates his cheating fears pretty significantly, whereas he can't even not hit the like button on Instagram. I think it's super rude. And also she's paranoid. Now she's got a whole list of all the girls that he thinks are hot. So every time they go out and there's a girl that looks like the Instagram model, she's going to be all agitated. I think it's completely not cool. And that's my opinion.
Yeah, that's a really important clarifying detail that you brought up, Tatiana, is that they actually talked about it and, made it clear that this is, something that's going to be damaging to their relationship, and he's still doing it anyway. Now, I mean, I would say that maybe this wouldn't be a problem in everyone's relationship. Everybody's different and everybody has their own insecurities and requests and things like that. But if they already agreed on it and he's breaking the agreement, then yeah, I could say that maybe it's a stretch to say it's cheating, but it's definitely breaking an agreement, and that's not going to be going in the direction of further connection with the partners, right? It's going to drive them further
by
apart.
the way. He didn't agree to it. He said no.
Oh.
Which I think is also
no.
messed up. Yeah, no, I think he's a jerk for doing that. I told him he's completely wrong. I said it was so disrespectful and hurtful, and I was very disappointed in him.
But Lauren, what do you think?
I really, and sorry for interrupting, Tatiana, I just agree with you so adamantly about that point that you made. It was the one thing that was just sticking in my head so much. It's very easy to go on Instagram or Facebook or Patreon or wherever you look at pictures and just look at them. You don't have to like a picture. By liking it, you are telling the person who posted that picture that you like it. So whether or not they're checking it or they have an assistant checking it, it doesn't really matter. You're making that statement that you like it. I think it is so incredibly disrespectful. I don't think it's cheating. I think that's like a line that it's not cheating. But to say that, oh, well, I'm just liking it, it's not like we are meeting in real life, that is a load of horseshit. In this day and age, so many people are meeting through Instagram. So many people. I've dated 3 guys, seriously, who messaged me on Facebook. I didn't know them. I knew them through people. They liked my pictures, started liking them, friended me, and we started dating. It's so easy to date a minor celebrity, a model, a this or that, man or woman, through Instagram. That's a thing now. That's a real thing. Sliding into somebody's DM is a thing. So I think it's just, God, you're like putting that statement out that you like their picture, especially if they're like in a bikini or scantily clad, or it's just so icky. I don't know.
Right, Lauren, so you said that you're sending the statement to the person who posted the picture,
yes,
but you're also sending it to the whole rest of the world who can see that you liked it.
Yes, you're telling everybody.
You're not only saying, you're declaring, I like this person's body or what their looks or whatever. You're also declaring to the world, hey, I like to look at women,
Yes. No, it's so true. And I've thought about this actually pretty extensively, because from back in the day when I did used to blog, I made a lot of guy friends. And these are good guys. They're not sleazy guys. None of them send me creepy messages. But they have significant others, they're married, they have kids, and there are a few of these guys who will go on liking sprees and like 40 of my pictures. And when I see that, part of me is like, oh, that's sweet, like they're trying to let me know that they're keeping up with my social media, for some of them. But for other ones, I'm like, why are they liking 40 of my pictures in a row? I haven't seen them in 15 years. They're married with kids. What's happening here? I don't know. I'm not into it. I think and I also think if you ask somebody and you say that that's something that you really dislike, and you're telling your partner that you don't want them to do it and they still do it, that's just jumping over a boundary. That's just telling them that you could kind of give a crap about their boundaries, and you're going to continue doing what makes your ego feel good, and you don't really care about what they feel or think. I don't know. I don't like it.
In this one case, I just found it particularly appalling because the girl won't even talk to guys in front of him. Like, imagine that kind of an accommodation. I think that's actually frankly overboard, and I don't even think she should do that. But I don't know. I was so disgusted with my friend. Thumbs down.
Can anyone defend the liker? Anyone want to play devil's advocate? Because I can try if nobody else wants to take it, but I'm not particularly sympathetic.
You can make the argument. Why not? We'll try and
go
give
for
them
it.
fair, we'll give those sleazebags, those guys, a little bit of floor time. Go for it.
Okay. All right. So maybe you could say that this is just kind of a safe, harmless way to do the natural thing that everybody feels like doing sometimes, which is admiring other people when they're in the relationship. Maybe it keeps the spice alive, right? He doesn't intend to actually fuck any of these women. He's just liking their pictures. That's all. It's harmless, right? It's almost like looking at porn, right? Can you expect someone to stop looking at porn just because they're in a relationship? Some people can't be expected to stop doing that. And if they did, it would feel incredibly stifling to them. So this is at least a safe way to express that attraction and do this sort of natural behavior that makes people happy. And at the end of the day, he's not going to actually cheat on her by sleeping with anyone else. So what's the harm in it?
It's a good argument. It's a good argument.
I don't think so. No way. I don't want to know that my boyfriend likes other women, period. That's it. I just don't want to know. I know that it exists, but I don't want to have to look at it at Instagram. If they want to do it, just still hit the like button. As simple as that. And as Lauren said, this does happen. People do meet that way. It's not that weird.
Yeah. I mean, what if hypothetically, let's throw this out there really fast. What if hypothetically there's a model that he likes and he starts liking her photos, maybe not even that many, maybe just one a day for 2 weeks. She notices he's a new follower. Maybe he's super hot. I don't know. What if she reaches out to him and she's like, you seem really cute. Thanks for liking my photos. There you go. That's an open conversation. Who knows what will happen? He could say, I have a girlfriend and sorry, I just like your bikini. Or he could be like, oh my God, this girl that I've been watching on Instagram for 3 years just wrote to me. What do I do next? It's just opening the door for something really dangerous. You can look, enjoy, love somebody's body from afar, but the minute you hit that the minute you open those lines of communication, who knows what could happen? I'm just saying.
All right. Well, we got one more question for today. Dating a friend's ex. What makes it okay and when is it not okay? Is it ever okay? How long do you have to wait after they break up? And can you still be friends with the friend who was your friend before that created the ex? What about marrying a friend's ex or someone you met through an ex? What about when a friend dates your ex? So we've got a lot of questions about this, but let's just start somewhere. Is it okay to date a friend's ex just broadly?
No. Get the hell out of here. What are you kidding me? It's girl code. You're not supposed to do that. Why would you aggravate your friend? There's 1 billion people in the world, 5 billion people in the world. Unless that friend has moved on from that person and they were never really that emotionally involved, you shouldn't be in a position where you're close enough to start dating them in the first place. That's my opinion. No.
Steph?
Yeah, it seems like it could really scare you, right? Like if your friend suddenly starts dating your ex, you're like, well, wait a minute. Did they have designs on them the whole time? Were they just hanging out with me to get close to my partner? And you start to get a little bit paranoid and jealous, and it really sort of undermines the friendship, right? Especially if they don't talk to you first, right? And I don't know. I mean, I feel like you shouldn't have to talk to somebody and ask their permission to date their ex, but it is kind of a nice thing to do if you really think, okay, the relationship wasn't that serious. Now they're broken up. It's been 5 years. Maybe I want to date this person. I think they could be the best match for me. I'm still going to let my friend know, hey, I've been talking to your ex a lot. What do you think? You know, can you recommend this person, right? Can you give me a recommendation? How would you feel about me dating this person? And maybe they'll give you their blessing, or maybe they'll be honest and say, I'm not okay with that. And then it's up to you whether you want to prioritize the friendship or the potential relationship. And when someone prioritizes potential relationships, then that makes you feel like, well, they're not really that excited about the friendship, right? They don't really value the friendship that much. So why should I?
Yeah, I think that there are a lot of variables with this kind of situation. I wouldn't date a friend's ex. I don't know. I wouldn't want somebody to date my ex. I've had people do that way in the past, and it just breeds all sorts of paranoia and insecurity. And you tend from the perspective of the person who has someone who's dating your ex, it just makes you wonder if they ever cared about you when, like you said, I just feel like you can really bypass it. But again, like going along with the variables, let's say somebody dated someone in college and let's say they were pretty serious and it was a serious college relationship, but they've been broken up for 10 years. and they're married now. And they look back on that relationship fondly. There wasn't any ugliness when it ended. It just ended. And the friend actually runs into this guy when they're out. And suddenly there's a spark and there's a connection and they feel like they're their person. It's worth maybe talking to your friend about, like you said, getting a feel of their feedback and seeing how they feel. But if it is something that could potentially be something big and the relationship maybe ended in a okay note, it was a long time ago, then it's worth it to talk about it. But if one of my friends dated someone a year ago and I met him out and let's say I didn't really know him and I thought he was hot, am I going to go for him because he hit on me? No. Like, you just walk away. Like Tatiana said, there are a million people out there. You can find somebody else. It's just, oh God, I have so many tortured feelings about this. Just because the person that I'm engaged to right now, I actually met 5 years ago through somebody that I was dating. And we both had a lot of feelings for each other right away when we met. We didn't tell each other for 4 years because he believes in bro code. I never wanted to hurt the guy I was dating, even though it was very casual, the guy that I was dating that I met my fiance through. We just didn't do anything about it. We didn't even share our feelings. And while it was very respectful and it makes me look at my fiance in a really warm light, like, wow, this guy has morals and he really, he would never do that to his friend and all this stuff. It's a really, really nice thing. I also think, wow, we wasted a lot of time that we could have been together if we had maybe talked to each other 2 years after we first met, or if he had talked to his friend and said, I met your girl, I think she's really cool. And I don't know how he could have done it. Maybe it couldn't have happened 5 years ago, but we did both really go for the whole code thing and we weren't together for 5 years. So, and now we're getting married and we're each other's person. We knew it back then and we waited. So I don't know. I have a lot of mixed feelings about it.
Well, in your case, Lauren, I'm kind of thinking that it's a little bit sad that you guys missed out on those 4 years together. I mean, he's your person, but I agree. I don't know. I still maintain, I don't think that people should even be in a position where that kind of romance can flourish. But I do think that there must be an exception to that once in a while too. Because you also don't want to keep your friends from finding love. But I don't know why anybody's going to be going looking in my old trash, Yeah,
exactly. And you know what? This guy that I met my fiance through, they're still really close friends and he's really happy for us. He's also very happy in a relationship of his own, but he's really happy for us. And while we did miss out on that time, it did kind of point us in a good karmic direction that we didn't do anything back then because we didn't hurt anybody back then. But again, like you said, it's sad that we lost those years together because we were quote unquote doing the right thing. It's tricky.
What about you, Steph? What do you think?
I have so much to say on this. Yeah. I loved what you said about you don't want to be looking through someone else's trash or you don't want someone else's leftovers. This is funny, but I actually have experienced both sides of this. And I'm thinking what if you're no longer friends with the person who used to be your friend? I mean, then it's kind of like all bets are off, but it still seems a little bit crappy, right? For example, someone is currently dating my ex who used to be, I guess you could call her a friend of mine. And they hooked up right away after we broke up and didn't hear from her at all. I thought that was really crappy behavior. Even if we're not really friends anymore, that's not how I would treat somebody that I was once friends with, right? On the other hand, I have a situation where the person that is my partner currently, I know 2 of their exes, actually. One of them I am no longer friends with. She talks to neither of us anymore. And we haven't talked to her, hey, we're starting a relationship. What do you think about this? There's been no conversation like that because she just doesn't talk to us. And the other ex is friends with my partner and also a friend of mine. And before we started dating, I talked to her and I was like, hey, what do you think? And she said, I'm so happy about this. I totally recommend it. I think you guys would be a great match. He was lovely. We had a good relationship, and I recommend him. We just weren't a good match for each other, but I would be happy if you two got together. So that was nice. It felt like a really nice closed loop, and all of us are friends now. So yeah, it can go a lot of different ways.
So is there a general rule that you all would each say that's your rule in terms of dating somebody's ex?
Oh, it's hard to say a general rule because the situations are so varied. I would say if you're not friends with the friend, oh God, it's so hard to like do the pronouns, but if you're not friends with the former friend anymore, all bets are off. Okay. But if you care about being friends with the former friend, or if you are still friends with them, then you got to talk about it. And if there's any whiff of they're not okay with it, and the friendship is a priority to you, prioritize the friendship.
I agree with that. And I think one of the things, it's scary to talk to somebody, to talk to a friend about their ex if there are feelings there, or if you've had a budding friendship with their ex and it might be going in that romantic direction. It's scary. But I think, I always say this, I think in every episode, it comes down universally to communication, right? Communicate with your friend, communicate with the person that you're talking to and telling them that, I am nervous about starting this. I adore your ex. I want to make sure that everything is okay. I think it's just talking about it, and then depending on the situation, go forward, either with them or without them. I don't know. Tatiana, what do you think? Would you agree with that?
I don't think that there's a hard and fast rule. I feel like I've made my position clear, and I have no comment.
Excellent. Well, if you have a question for the show, you can go to proofoflovecast.com. We would love to hear from you, or comment on any of our answers or whatever else you want to add. Please, if you like the show, take a minute to share it with your friends. We would really appreciate that. A lot of people hear about our show through word of mouth, and especially the Q&As are popular. So if you enjoyed it, or even if you didn't enjoy it, share it with your friends. Tell a friend or two. And thank you so much for tuning in today.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. Proof of Love is always out on Fridays, so you can check out some old episodes at proofoflovecast.com, or you can check out thetatianashow.com and check out my other podcast. Once again, thank you to our sponsors, Altangent Labs, which has a beautiful product called blocktap.io. It's a data analysis tool for the crypto space. And also my good friend Josh and the wonderful team over at Vaultoro, vaultoro.com. Check them out. And thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. If you have a project that needs reliable cryptocurrency data, check out blocktap.io. Blocktap.io is a universal cryptocurrency API. You can get historical prices for Bitcoin and other digital assets that you can use to build charts and do market analysis. Blockchain data is also indexed so you can get transaction statistics, address balances, and more for Bitcoin and other networks. Blocktap.io is free for personal use, and you don't even need to create an account to access the API. To get started, try some of the example queries on the homepage at blocktap.io. Show me your heart. I know that it's beating. Tell me that you love me too. So I know your heart is true. 'Cause I need some proof of love. 'Cause I need some proof of love. 'Cause I need some proof of love.
Do you like cryptocurrency, politics, economics, activism, or art? Then check out The Tatiana Show, where you can learn all about it in a fun and non-intimidating way, as if you're just hanging with friends. Go to thetatianashow.com and listen now. Thank you for listening to Proof of Love. Please follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Proof of Lovecast. More episodes can be found at proofoflovecast.com. And make sure you leave a review on iTunes and tell your friends. Proof of Love has been brought to you by CryptoMediaHub.com, a boutique marketing and PR agency for Bitcoin and beyond.